Hello again. So let's study the novel The Lonely Londoners now. It's by Sam Selvon, the novel was published in 1956. The novel talks about the 1950s London at that time. And I'm sure that from my previous classes that you know that in 1950s Britain was in need of a lot of workers at that time, and Britain started opening up the gates. It actually opened the floodgate for immigrants to come and stay so that they'll get laborers for cheap wages. And immigrants from the Caribbean, they started coming in, although the Britishers expected the Australians and the Canadians to come first. Because of the transportation charges, it was very low at that time. The Caribbeans actually started coming. And Britain, for the first time, started seeing other races. So there is a mixture of, there is an interracial culture in Britain this 1950s. And with different race comes racial problems. So Caribbeans, as you know, they are black race, and then later you have other Asian immigrants also in London. So you have Indians, you have South Asians, people from Malaysia, people from Sri Lanka. All those South Asian countries also go to Britain at that time, and they started living there. The quality of the life was quite mediocre because opportunities were not very good for these people since the wages were very low. But for these people, that money was okay. I mean, better than how they were paid back in their homeland. So, and most of them, although they were welcome to get married and settle down, have families, and most of them had these fantasies of getting married to a white woman. They found themselves enjoying the bachelor life, spending time with the prostitutes and spending money on these prostitutes, and drinking and spending time in clubs and some other activities, anti-racial activities, such things. Everything we discussed actually. Now, this novel, it doesn't have a linear plot structure or anything. Sam Selvon himself was an immigrant from Caribbean. He's from Trinidad actually. And you must know that even though he's from Caribbean, he is of Indian descent. His parents or ancestors, they came from India as laborers to Caribbean, and they settled there, and from there the next generation now goes to, that is this protagonist. I'll explain. The protagonist will go to London, and he will start living there. So it's like a two-tier migration going on there. So there is a whole structure of the novel. It doesn't have a linear structure. It is more or less a compiling of different viewpoints from different characters. You have two names for each characters. One is the real name. You are not to remember the real name because the real name is not the important one. There is always a nickname for a character. So the nicknames are quite interesting. If you remember the nickname, then that is the most important thing in this novel. So remember the characters by their nicknames, and remember how each one is having different experiences in London society, and how do they cope with this racism and this white prejudice against the black. So we'll start the summary, and I'll tell you about the protagonist and about his life. There is a list of characters, important characters. One is Moses Henry Oliver. He is known as Sir Galahad in the novel. So Moses is the main character. Henry Oliver, that is a real name of another character. He is famously called as Sir Galahad. See, that is a nickname given by Moses. So you are supposed to address him as Sir Galahad. Another character, Tall Roy. He is Moses' friend from Jamaica. Tall Roy. And then Tanti Bessie. Tanti Bessie is Tall Roy's aunt. Agnes and Louis, they are a couple. They are also Tall Roy's family. And Ma, M-A, Ma, mother. Ma is Tall Roy's mother. There is another character called Cap, C-A-P, Cap. It's short for captain. And another character is Daniel. He is also one of the black kids, black boys. Bartholomew, he is known as Bart, B-A-R-T, Bart. Bart is the nickname, so you have to remember Bart. The real name is Bartholomew. Beatrice, it's a female character. She's a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend of Bart. Daisy. Daisy is Galahad's first date. Big City is also the name of a character, Big City, because this person is always talking about big cities. So his nickname is Big City. 5 past 12. 5 past 12. Another name of a character, because somebody made fun of his color and they also said you look like 5 past 12. That means 5 minutes after midnight. That much pinch black you are, your skin looks like. So he is known as 5 past 12. Another black character is Harris. So these are the main characters. So let us go summary chapter wise here. The first chapter is Sir Galahad Arrives. As the novel opens, you are aware of the fact that Moses, the protagonist of the novel, is living in London. And see, as it happens always in every family, when one of your relatives goes to a different country and you assume that he is doing successful, he's doing very well, and the next thing you do is you always call that person or ask, or in those days writes letters, and ask the person, can you please take some of your family members and get them a job so that everyone is happy, let them get a life. And those days were very usual. So because Moses is here in London, Moses's family keep sending him people from Caribbean, so that they assume that Moses is able to help them. Moses is actually tired of this practice by his family. He keeps telling them also, but nobody listens because it is a helpless condition, right? And even though they know that their son won't be able to help all of these people, they keep sending these people. So one winter evening, Moses goes to Waterloo station to pick up a fellow countryman who is just arriving in Great Britain. Moses thinks about how West Indians always send newcomers to him for help with jobs and accommodation. And Moses comes in this place called Waterloo. He meets his friend Tolroy, and Tolroy is actually waiting for one member of the family. Instead, he sees that the entire family with his mother has come to Great Britain. And Tolroy is really getting angry with his mother because she brings the whole family and he is supposed to look after them until each of them get a job. How is he supposed to do that? He knows only his condition, right? So he doesn't want to take the responsibility of all of them, and he hardly takes care of himself. So yeah, so this novel just flashes at these experiences of these black people at that time. So you have Moses, he is waiting for a West Indian man. You have Tolroy, a friend who is expecting only one member, his mother, but instead along with the mother comes the whole family. He's really agitated. And then again, another characters also make some appearances. So the person that Moses is supposed to pick up is Sir Galahad. He calls him Sir Galahad, and Sir Galahad Galahad is very confident. The moment he steps in London soil, he thinks that getting a job is very easy. So he's all with the confidence, and he expresses his confidence, saying that, oh, I'll get a job. And Moses, he knows the reality. So he warns Galahad, saying that you better register yourself in the unemployment to get the unemployment card. So at least you will get provisions, you'll get money, pension for just staying staying unemployed. So that is good. But at first he doesn't listen to, but the next day he realizes that what Moses was telling him was true. It's very difficult to get a job, the well-paying job at that time. So again, Moses helps him to register his name in the agency, and Galahad gets his unemployment card, and he will get the welfare also. The welfare fund at that time was meant for people who are unemployed. They will get some amount of money because they are unemployed. It was government's way of supporting the unemployed people. The next chapter is called Cap's Ballad. Cap is a character, short for captain. We already said that. Now, Cap is an interesting character. He wasted all the money that his parents had given him for studying, and he only has one suit, one outfit, which he washes every day and makes sure that he's well dressed, and he also acts a bit innocent and naive so that he'll get money by playing this naive kid from women and from all other people. He also has this knack with the women to impress them, and he tries to escape rent by living in hostels meant for the black boys who came to London at that time looking for employment. And he keeps escaping giving rent to hostels by always saying that my welfare money is coming, my student scholarship is coming, so let me stay here for at least a week, and then after 2 weeks he'll be thrown out of the hostel. And he keeps living like that because he doesn't have any money, and even if he gets any money, he'll spend it sooner. So yes, Cap goes out with an Austrian girl. So he has this Austrian girlfriend. The Austrian girlfriend was very helpful. She tried to put him in different jobs, but Caps keeps quitting all these jobs because he's very unstable. He doesn't even take it seriously. And finally, the Austrian girl leaves him because she had pawned most of her jewels and all other stuff to help him. Finally, she realizes that he's not going to get settled or anything, and then she leaves. And then Cap marries, finally you can see that Cap marries a French girl, hoping that he'll get the money that French girl is getting from France. But finally realizing that there is no money, he dumps this girl to someone else. Anyway, that is Cap's life. The next chapter is about Bard. It's called Bard's Ballad, and Bard is one of the boys at the hostel. He has a light skin. He is not as dark as the other boys from the Caribbean. So he says that he is from South America. It's very easy to pretend. If you have light skin, you can just simply say you are from any South American countries, and they'll believe you, right? And the lighter you are, the less racism you need to face. So yeah, Bart gets a clerical job, which is a good paying job. So he is one of those black people who has this good job, but he doesn't want to help others because he is getting nice payment, and he doesn't want to lend any money, and because he wants to save up all the money. And he also doesn't like his fellow countrymen because he thinks that the more they come, the less my job opportunity will be. So yeah, he's a bit selfish, but situations make him selfish. So Bart is the interesting character like that. He had an English girlfriend. Her name is Beatrice, and he once goes to Beatrice's house to meet the English white parents of Beatrice, but the father of Beatrice is not very welcoming. He asks him to leave, and then he's insulted. Although Beatrice's mother was towards him, she was very polite. Anyway, Beatrice breaks up with him, and he suspects that Beatrice is cheating with him. And anyway, his love life is not good. Another character is the next chapter is Louis Ballard. Here we talk about Tolroy, the character who was there in the railway station from Jamaica. He was expecting his mother, but instead of mother, along with the mother, the whole family came. So yeah, in this chapter we are learning about the family, what happened to them. So yes, a lot of characters there, but what we understand is that everyone is doing okay, although the couple Louis and Agnes, they break up because Louis start beating up Agnes because Louis gets jealous that Agnes can be promiscuous, although she doesn't even have that kind of approach with other men. And finally she separates from him, and that is the story of Tolroy's family. Then next chapter is Tanti's Ballad. Tanti is the woman who was there, the aunt of Tolroy. She takes care of the houses, and Tolroy frequently reproaches Tanti for coming over to Britain. Tolroy's family lived near a Harrow Road, which is a working class area, and she is what? And yeah, that is Tanti gets to know that virtually everybody in the district. She forces, just a moment. So yes, Tanti is working in a grocery shop. She tries to convince the shopkeeper to start selling things on credit, and she also starts telling the shopkeeper to start have trust on people. And finally, it turned out to be a good idea. Anyway, she gets a nice opportunity later in life, and she leaves the town. Tolroy's mother is also working in a kitchen, and she is also doing fine. Going to the next chapter, Sir Galahad's Ballad. Here we learn about Sir Galahad. Sir Galahad is a nickname, I told you. He is not a nobility. It's just Sir Galahad. Let's call him Galahad because that's what it appears in the novel. Yes, so he gets a job, and he gets good payment also, but he buys a good wardrobe. He buys a lot of clothes and he wastes all his money. And although he is very optimistic in London, he has higher hopes. One day he was walking in the street, and a white child, a British child, looks at him and yells that it's a black man. And although he tries to pat on the cheek of the child in an affectionate manner, trying to soothe the child's mother drags the child away in fear or disgust. And this turns out to be a very hurtful experience for Galahad because, well, it is one of the experiences after all. He has been experiencing the same kind of racism all through the period he was there in London, but it still hurts. So then we already said that there is another character called Big City because he's always talking about big cities. So Big City, everybody suspects that Big City has a lot of money, although he doesn't have a steady job. One day he even gets a car, and others suspect that Big City is doing something fishy. And when someone is doing fishy, one of these black men does something bad or criminal activities, every time all the black men will get into trouble. People start showing this hostility towards them. So that's where everyone is concerned. Then there is an important chapter which is the very famous stream of consciousness style. In this there is pages after pages you read without any punctuation. That's how the structure of this chapter looks like. And in this chapter you learn a lot about what's going on in the life of Moses, and a lot of the boys, and how they spend time with these prostitutes, and how these white people have some fetishes about black people, and how they sell into fetishes just for money. White women and white men ask sexual favors from these men, and they pay good amount of money also. So by even forgetting their own dignity, they sell themselves into this, even Moses and others. That is the summary, the gist in the stream of consciousness part in this novel. Then we have another chapter called Fete. This chapter is about this 5 past 12, this man who was made fun of for having a black skin, I told you, and a bit about that character. And here you learn that be, just a moment, I'm just gathering some information here. Yes, there is this guy from Barbados called 5 past 12. Then he adds, yeah, he works for the RAF and then as a truck driver. Five always ask for money like fetes and women. So this is what this chapter says. Anyway, what happens to 5 past 12 is not very important because only very little is given in the summary. I don't think you have to take this part about 5 past 12 very seriously, at least for your exam, if you are not studying this in detail, right? So then there is an ending. There is one winter that is particularly harsh for boys. Galahad loses his work. Things are so bad and Galahad plans to catch a pigeon to eat it. So there is a starvation and a bit of struggles going on. And this is how the novel ends. And you have see that the intention of the novel is just to talk about how these immigrants, what is the condition that they face in London, and it is not always as glorious as it looks from the outside, because for others they are workers, they get paid, but what is the condition with which they live, that is only they know what is going on in their lives, and the racism that they face and the exploitation in the employment field that they face. So these are the main themes in this novel. So I hope that you get the summary. Also, please read the summary that I gave you. You have other summaries available in the internet, and with that you can say that this novel is done. And remember that it is not a non-detailed study, right? So just know the summary, remember the characters, and always remember the nickname of the characters in this novel. Then you're good to go. Thank you.